What's going on, mobile gamers? Today we're going to be checking out the M17 retro handheld that I told you guys not to buy a few weeks ago. So let's jump in and check out what's inside this black plastic garbage bag. Yes, the black plastic garbage bag looking box package thing. What's inside this is the M17 retro handheld that everybody keeps talking about. And I noticed Retro Game Corp talked about this, said it's great for kids, which I probably am going to agree about that. Tacky said that it was an okay little device, but not the greatest. And a few other you guys out there kind of reviewed this, and I guess there's also custom firmware for it now. That being said, the reason why I bought this was because I got it on a sale through AliExpress, and according to their listing, it says it has 2 gigabytes of memory, maybe, and 2000 milliamp battery, where all the other ones, they didn't have that feature. So we're going to look at it. Let's rip this open and see what we got. There's the box. Got it all open. Now, let's take a second to look at the listing. So the listing has gone up in price a little bit, but it's still on sale. According to this listing, it's called the BaByee M17 Retro Handheld, plays PSP, has a 4.3-inch screen, and according to the pictures, it looks like the screen has a full screen capacity to fill the whole screen. With all these pictures that it's showing, I'm gonna guess, hopefully that's the case, but then when you look at the box, it kind of looks like there's a bezel. We'll check that out in a minute. Now, I got the 64 gigabyte model because I don't really think I need anything more than that. And we're going to scroll down and take a look at all the other specs. So we have Linux, Emulec, 4.3 operating system, supports up to 25 different classic handhelds, or emulators, or simulators, whatever you want to call it. GBA, PSP, PS1, N64, Super Famicom, and so on. According to this, it's got a quad-core Cortex A7 up to 1.2 gigahertz. System memory of 2 gigabytes, so I'm guessing 2 gigabytes of RAM, maybe? Maybe? I don't know. According to this, it says it's got an IPS 4.3, 480 by 272 display, a 1500 milliamp battery, which is kind of confusing because the back of this box says 2000 milliamp battery. Maximum supports a 128 gigabyte external storage, and the back of the box says that as well. System memory says 2 gigabytes, but yeah. We're going to be the judge of that. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually see the internal storage of this thing, but so far, it's got a nice little box, I guess. Like, this box isn't cheap or anything. It's not just like a random box. SJ Ham, I don't know what that is. Never heard of that. I think this is the same box as everybody else had. So we're going to open this up and take a look inside. Now, of course, we have our little plastic baggie that this is sitting in. And we have our manual. Our manual is going to tell us a lot of random things that me, as somebody that knows anything about this stuff, I'm not going to really look at this, but there's a manual if anybody needs to take a look. USB-C charging cable, which is promising. At least it's USB-C, and they used USB-C, not USB 5.0 or whatever. The old USB, micro USB, or anything like that. That being said, we just got our plastic, we got our box, and here's the packaging. Let's just take it out, and that bezel is ugly as sin. So that being said, we're gonna pop this stuff aside and take a look at this thing. We have really clicky R2, L2 buttons, R1, L1 buttons that seem cheap as cheap comes. We have Nintendo Joy-Con style joysticks, but they don't click, and I already knew that. We have a weird looking D-pad on the left hand side. I thought this thing was weird when I first saw this, but I don't know, it probably is not going to pass the D-pad test. A, B, X, and Y. A is at the bottom, B is at the right hand side. And yeah, we have not a full screen display. This literally is a really tacky looking device. Plastic, looks like it was made with a 3D printer in my opinion. And that's my opinion again, so pretty cheap. 57 bucks or whatever it was. I don't know if that's going to be really worth it. We'll have to see and find out when we turn this thing on. So let's switch it on and see if it pops on right away. We got a loading screen. We got this little plastic screen protector. And I'm just going to toss that away and see how long this takes to load for a sec. Alright, so it loads right into your system, and it looks like it needs to be charged up a little bit. But we have a whole bunch of different systems here. Atari, System 1, System 2, System 3, PC Engine, NES, NES Hacks, Game Boy, Super Famicom, Nintendo or Super Nintendo, N64, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, Genesis, Game Gear, Mega Drive, Pocket Color, PlayStation, all games, my favorites, Sony PSP again, and Arcade, and Neo, and MAME, and Atari 2600, and I feel like I'm going through this again. There we go. Alright, so that being said, it says Sony's first handheld game. It was also the first, oh, okay, this is just telling us. Now, press A to enter. Okay, we have some games here. The game that I want to test out, which I'm going to see if it's even on here, which it doesn't seem like it is. Any of these games I most likely would not play. I don't know what their mindset was when they went through their games list. Maybe these are the only like retro style games. What's Tiny Hawk? And what was the other one that I just saw? 55-in-1 Arcade. Like, they say it plays PSP, but does it really? I don't know. I'm not even going to bother looking at the game list anymore because I just scrolled through this all, and I don't see any recognizable games. Let's go to maybe PlayStation 1. Let's go to that. Let's see if that has any recognizable games. Crash Wolf 3. Whatever that is. Tomb Raider. Okay, we got Tomb Raider on here. That's a recognizable game. Crash Wolf 1, 2, and 3. Crash Bandicoot, I'm assuming. Maybe so that they don't get in trouble for taking the name. Let's load up Crash Bandicoot 3 and see if it actually runs right off the hop. So, I'm playing PS1 right now, and so far, PS1 seems like it's okay. With Crash Bandicoot, that is. Now, Final Fantasy test and all those other games, I might do a video about that. But so far, playing PS1, okay, I can say that this is playing PS1 okay at this point. I haven't played too much into it yet, as you guys saw, but it's playing it. That's the main part, right? So there is a little bit of graphical things that I can see in the background there, but that being said, it's playing. So now, how do we get out of the game? I don't know much about Linux operating systems, but maybe start and select. Oh, there we go. Start and select. Oh, we can do save states. Okay, that's cool. Little how-to here. Oh yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Disk control. Oh, we can change like some of the settings for this. Disk index. Not sure. Disk cycle tray status. None of these settings seem like they want to do much of anything. Let's quit the game. Let's see how easy it is to get out of this. Let's go and look for another game here. Maybe, nah, Silent Hill's not really a game I want to check out. I guess Street Fighter could be one. Fantasy Water, I don't know what that is. Now maybe they go and put on games that are guaranteed to work, in a sense. I don't know. Let's go over to Let's try N64. I heard N64 isn't really the best system. Now, that being said, do they have just certain games on here again? Games that we wouldn't really recognize. I guess there's Mario Kart right there. Super Mario 64. All right, Super Mario 60. Smash Bros. I like the Smash Bros. Test. Now, the battery is dying on this thing already. So, we're going to see if we can actually even play it. All right, Super Nintendo 64. Okay. Don't hear any sound. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we got some sound tearing already. BaByee. Let's go hard. Start. Oh, yeah, lots of crackling. Versus Link. Go! Yep, all in slow motion. Now, that being said, maybe the latest whatever they did, they have like a different firmware that you can put on it, kind of like RetroArch, I guess. But as you can see, they say this is supposed to play N64. Now, this game is one of those games that I like to test with a lot of different emulation, and as you can tell, it's not handling it well. Now, they didn't put a lot of PSP games that I recognize on here, so maybe I'll come back to this and take a look at it again. That being said, this is just something that I still don't think you should spend $60 on. If you really want a really good device, even for kids, get a Retroid. Honestly, like, this thing looks like it's trying to copy the Retroid. Here's a Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, and do you see a lot of similarities? Sort of. All I can think is, was this Retroid's first shell or something that they designed and then they came out with this? I don't know. Who knows? I'm not going to go into in-depth everything about this. Oh, here we go. We got system settings. Let's see. Information, version. Okay. September 15th is when it came out. Region is English. And there's not much else in here. Restore default settings, backlight settings. You can change the backlight, I guess, which is nice. How I did that, I just pressed the start and select together. And there's not too much. This is just raw, you know, system, Linux, whatever. Let's go see if we can play some Donkey Kong to finish this off, because this has already been a long enough look at this thing. It doesn't even have pictures. All right, Donkey Kong Country 2. Which Donkey Kong Country do we got here? Which one is this, guys? I can't touch the screen, so let's just load this one and see if this is Donkey Kong Country 1. Alright, well, this isn't in English. That's pretty good, I guess. A little bit of screen issues, yeah, flickering. Yeah, I love that already. And let's see if this is playable. We got screen tearing on the left. We got buttons that don't make any sense on the right. And the Y button doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know why that's up there like that. Maybe you can change the buttons. But Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong Country, right out of the bag. It's playing, I guess. That's all I can say. Maybe give this to your kids. I wouldn't spend more than $20 on something like this. I would never buy something like this. But I did. And the reason why was so that you can see why knowing what to buy before you buy it and investigating, not buying a whole bunch of stuff like I sometimes do, is the way to go. Jump into some communities, whatever that meant. Ask some people, ask Facebook, see what people say. Because this M17, right now, out of the box, is not an amazing console to me. Have a nice day. Go game. Not on this thing. Unless you already have one, then have fun, I guess. I don't know what else to say, guys. I'm sorry. Bye! Bye-bye!